Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder is being finalized for April in London, according to the Ring magazine. Now, this is what the Ring magazine posted on their Instagram. And as you can see the caption, it says that Wilder versus Chisora being finalized for April in London. Now, I thought that this was a fight that was not going to happen because before this, we saw this, right? We saw Deontay Wilder versus Oleksandr Usyk being discussed, being talked about, and Deontay Wilder himself mentioned that his team are in contact with, Oleksandr Usyk to discuss the fight. And I think I made a video where the fight was going to be somewhere in Los Angeles, and Oleksandr Usyk's team were discussing with Deontay Wilder. But then, at some point, right, a month ago, we saw this. We saw Deontay Wilder versus, Derek Chisora face-off. I didn't think much of it because I thought it's just a face-off. I don't think this fight is going to happen. And then we just seen this news of the Ring magazine confirming that this fight is being finalized for London. Look, I had to catch myself. This is the heavyweight division. This is the most unpredictable division in boxing, and anything can happen. But I must say, right, I am not, mad at this fight. I am quite excited for this fight because, let's be honest, guys, both fighters, Wilder and Derek Chisora, are on the same level. I thought it was a mismatch between these two, right? Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder, I think is a good fight. Oleksandr Usyk versus Deontay Wilder is an absolute mismatch. And I made a few videos sort of breaking it down and talking about the fact that this fight is a mismatch because, Oleksandr Usyk is at a level where he's so far away and better than Deontay Wilder that I think Wilder would get absolutely destroyed and would get hurt in that fight. So I am happy to see that this fight is potentially happening next, and hopefully, it is confirmed and it's going to be in London because I think this fight will sell out the O2 Arena. Deontay Wilder has never fought in the UK before. I don't think he has. So I think a lot of people would be eager to see Deontay Wilder fight in the UK. And Derek Chisora, as we know, has had really good fights in London. He's loved by a lot of the British boxing fans, and I think a lot of people will come out to see, Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora. Now, this fight is an evenly matched fight because I think both fighters are way past their best. Although I am going to make Derek Chisora the favourite in this because although Chisora is past his best, I think Chisora just has something within him that on the night he'll be able to knock Deontay Wilder. I think Chisora is just a bit more aggressive. Although he's past his best, Chisora is just a maniac, right? It's crazy. And so Chisora's always got something within him that he can pull out on the night and cause, an upset to Deontay Wilder. And it will be an upset because if you think about it, Derek Chisora should be at the end of his career before Deontay Wilder. But I think after the Fury fights, Deontay Wilder was absolutely beaten from pillar to post. And I think physically, mentally, he hasn't got the killer instinct. I mean, we saw him against Joseph Parker. He looked like a shadow of himself there, right? Deontay Wilder looked like he's never been in a ring before. And then we saw him against Zhilei Zhang. And once again, he just looked like he didn't want to be in a ring. He looked like he was there to take the paycheck and go back to Alabama. That's what Deontay Wilder looked like. He's just not the same, and the thing about Deontay Wilder is he's never had the sophisticated, scales to go with his ability. And the fact that, he doesn't have the skills. Now that, he's getting older and he's not the same fighter anymore, he hasn't got anything to fall back on to save him from the bigger shots that are coming. And we can see that in a Zhang fight. He got hit and he turned around because he hasn't got the ability, the skill to protect himself in the ring. But I think Derek Chisora, although he is, way past his best, I think Chisora has got. He's there. Chisora understands that he needs to protect himself in a fight, and I think Chisora has more, has better fundamentals than Deontay Wilder. Let's put it that way. So Chisora would be able to protect himself in a fight more than Deontay Wilder would, and I think both fighters are evenly matched. But as I said, I am going to make Derek Chisora the favorite in this fight because I think, he has got more spite in him. I think he's got the killer instinct as well, as yet still within his armory. And I think Derek Chisora, his 50th fight in London, to sign off in boxing, I think Chisora wants to make a statement. So I think Deontay Wilder might be in trouble in this fight, and I think Derek Chisora is gonna have the upper hand in this fight. But look, Wilder will feel like, he needs to show something. Wilder will feel like it's time for him to, maybe change the narrative a little bit, because in the last 5 fights, a lot of people have given Deontay Wilder a lot of criticism for the way he's carried himself, the way he's fought, including myself. But if Deontay Wilder can get into this fight and show, that he's still got something, because recently Deontay Wilder said that he is in his prime. And I know for a fact that Deontay Wilder does not believe that he's in his prime. I know that he knows that he's not in his prime, but he's trying to gear himself up, right? He's trying to psych himself up for his next fight. But I don't think Deontay Wilder believes in his heart that he's in his prime, because I know he knows that it's coming to the end of his career. But this fight against Chisora, Wilder could surprise me. He could get in there and show us that he's still got something left. And I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Deontay Wilder get in there and show the world that he's still got something left in him, and upset, Derek Chisora, and cause a big upset in London. Because, although Deontay Wilder should be the one, beating Derek Chisora, I think a lot of people will pick Derek Chisora to beat Deontay Wilder. So if Deontay Wilder should turn things around and beat Derek Chisora in London, it will be a bit of an upset in London, I think, in my opinion. So look, it's an interesting fight. I can't wait to see. I can't wait for the build-up. I think it's going to be interesting. Both fighters know how to talk. Derek Chisora is not short of words. Deontay Wilder is not short of words. And I think it's going to be an interesting build-up leading up to the fight. But one question that I have, since this fight is being finalized, is what happens with Oleksandr Usyk? What does Oleksandr Usyk do next? Because he wanted to fight Deontay Wilder. He wanted to get that Deontay Wilder name on his record. He wanted to fight the one fighter that he's not fought yet, which is Deontay Wilder. And he's not going to get that fight anymore. So what happens with, Oleksandr Usyk? Now, we're going to make a separate video, because I think, from what I've read, Oleksandr Usyk is discussing with Dana White to join Zafar Boxing. So that's, something that we will talk about in a separate video. But I think that, Oleksandr Usyk is now an available fighter. And I think, if anything, the best fight for Oleksandr Usyk that anybody in boxing would love to see is Usyk versus Caballero. And if he can't make that fight, then Usyk versus Fabio Wardley is probably the natural fight to make next. I think that's what we should see next. Either Usyk versus Caballero or Usyk versus Fabio Wardley. But we will make a separate video going into more detail about what Oleksandr Usyk should do next. And if he signs with Zafar Boxing, then we will talk about it more. But for now, Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder in London in April should be a really good fight. I want you guys to get in the comment section and let me know what you think about this fight. Potentially, who are you picking? Were you surprised that we're seeing this fight? Or did you expect that we will see this fight next? Get in the comment section and let me know.